you have to be just adaptable to whatever the changing environment is, just like any animal that's out there. It survives by being adaptable, and you just got to be hungry to learn. And most people stop learning after they're done with college or
Yeah.
university.
Yeah.
So
It's a good point.
you got to change that mindset.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to, I don't know, the way you view university, what you want to get out of it. If you're someone who's going in and your goal is just to get that piece of paper, right? You're just in and out. Then what we're trying to say here is that piece of paper may not be too applicable going forward because there's so much disruption in the industry. It may not be relevant anymore. So I think there's two ways to sort of look at that. First, I think university shouldn't be viewed as just that piece of paper. I think it does, technically, all universities are different. Some are good, some are bad, but at least the good ones are kind of meant to teach you more than just what you're getting out of it from that course alone. It's kind of meant to be teaching you to work with other people, right? Like student groups, work on projects, process information, research information, and you're going to get graded on your research, right? So it means like you get given a topic, you go out, you study it, you research it, you put together a paper, you present that paper, it's meant to be graded. And it's all just about it's sort of training you how to process information. I think is a large part of it. A bad university would be like, here's a textbook, memorize it, right? That's not going to really do anything for anyone. But the good universities, I do think, do teach like critical thinking, teaches cooperation, team like work, like understanding, like going, and also it's like tackling a big project, right? Because up to this point in your high school career, whatever, you've got your homework, your little bits and pieces, you got your big exams, but you never really like tackled a big project. Like this is a big thing. It's like your thesis or like some big sort of thing that you got to work towards that could take months. And you never really encountered that in your life to that point. So I do think you sort of gain skills out of working on those sort of bigger projects too, especially with people. So if we're trying to like, if this whole conversation is around like, would we recommend at this point in time someone goes to study? I do think you have to look at it from that side. The other side is that I would recommend is don't try and study something very niche and very specific. Like don't put all your eggs in one basket of, okay, I'm going to study, X and trying to think of a good example, but like some very niche specialized field that could get replaced, right? Because you just basically double down on some yeah something like, I don't know, something that could easily get replaced by AI. Something that technically could very easily get replaced by AI wouldn't be a good one to go for. I would study something a bit more generalistic. Even a computer science degree, it does teach you like a whole bunch of fundamentals across computer science. It's not just like, oh, well, this is how you program. Maybe that would be a bad thing to do, right? If you're just going into university and you're just studying programming and that's all you do. You don't look at anything else around the industry or try and, get into the technical side of it or, the engineering side of it, that would be, a risky move. I would rather go for a more generalistic computer science degree that teaches, across the board, a whole different set of fields and sort of allows you when you leave university, you have that piece of paper, but you kind of have a good overview. Like you're kind of like, again, as you were saying earlier, it is kind of a jack of all trades, but at least you can pivot then really easily around to where you need to be, not kind of like narrowly focused to something that could not exist anymore by the time you finish.
Yeah, I think something from the physical side of things where it's not all software driven. Anything that you have to work with your hands definitely has a more lifespan. Obviously, everybody's working towards Tesla with the Optimus robot, Boston Dynamics, they have all these really crazy dexterity robots. And I think that's something where, that's probably farther out, but at least I think from the physical side of things, if you can kind of combine, whether it's like blue collar work and combine AI with that or construction or things like that, I think there's still an advantage there where that can work in conjunction with AI, because that's traditionally very very physical and more old school in the way they approach technology. I'm curious, in video games, cheat codes let you skip months of grinding to unlock special abilities instantly. Have you ever wished for something similar for your software challenges? What if there's a way to instantly access 20 plus years of specialized expertise instead of developing it all internally? What if you could solve in weeks what might otherwise take months or years? Would you agree that most organizations face a steep learning curve when implementing new software solutions? At my company Impact, we serve as that cheat code for companies looking to transform complex software into intuitive experiences that users love and that drive real business results. Would it be valuable to explore? And how might this work for your specific situation? Visit impact.io for a free strategy session focused on your unique challenges.